I had barely been in the neighborhood 3 weeks. It was one of those so-called premium gated communities, the kind realtors dress up with buzzwords like prestigious, exclusive, family-oriented. What they didn't say on a glossy brochure was that behind those white fences and manicured lawns lurked a storm named Karen, HOA president, neighborhood tyrant, and self-appointed guardian of suburban mediocrity. I moved in for one reason: peace. That, and to enjoy the one true indulgence I had ever allowed myself, my matte black McLaren. Not just a car, a masterpiece, a machine that whispered elegance rather than screamed it. My therapy after long work weeks, my reward for years of sacrifice, and yes, my pride. It was quiet, never revved recklessly, and never sped beyond 20 miles per hour within the gated walls. I respected the community. I respected the space. But apparently my McLaren didn't. Or rather, it didn't respect Karen's unwritten laws. The first warning came not through conversation, not through a neighborly introduction, but through a note. A single sheet of paper slapped aggressively beneath my windshield wiper. Your car is a threat to our community. Far too fast, intimidating to children. It violates the spirit of peaceful living. You have 2 weeks to remove it before further action is taken. No hi, no name, no civility. I laughed. I genuinely laughed. Took a picture of it, filed it under a private folder I call the Karen Chronicles, and moved on. Surely, I thought, she was bluffing. I had broken no rules. The HOA handbook had nothing against specific vehicle types. And if anyone was a menace, it was Karen, flying through the streets in her white Range Rover like she was in a Jason Bourne chase scene, shouting at squirrels and honking at toddlers. But day 15 arrived like a silent storm. I stepped outside, coffee in hand, the sun barely up, and stopped dead in my tracks. My McLaren. Wrecked. Not keyed. Not scratched. Wrecked. The windshield was shattered like ice under a hammer. The paint, once a smooth, seamless canvas, had been gouged and stripped away in erratic streaks. All 4 tires were slashed to ribbons. It was a targeted, violent desecration, the kind of destruction you only see in movies about revenge or madness. I didn't scream, didn't drop my coffee. I just stared, a cold fire building in my chest. And then, like something out of a dark sitcom, Denise from 2 doors down shuffled up to me, eyes wide. I saw Karen and the landscaping guy doing something to your car last night, she whispered. Thought it was weird. 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 Weird enough to call the police, Denise? I asked, more amused than angry. She blinked. I wasn't sure. Of course she wasn't. People like Karen thrive on doubt and discomfort. But what Karen didn't know was this. I don't just love machines. I understand them, which is why I had a security camera discreetly installed inside the porch light, 1080p, night vision, motion activated with audio. I walked back inside, calmly, methodically, pulled up the footage, and there she was, Karen, wearing a pink floral housecoat, Crocs, and a fury in her eyes that could boil steel. She wasn't alone. The landscaping guy, Miguel, I think, stood by awkwardly, holding a flashlight while she swung a hammer like she was breaking into Fort Knox. She shouted something about vehicular threats and children's safety. It was so absurd I replayed it twice. I paused the footage, smiled, called my lawyer. Good news, I said. I have something you'll want to see. Karen wanted the car gone? Well, congratulations, Karen. You just bought me a new one. I imagine she walked away that night from the mangled remains of my McLaren with the confidence of a comic book villain. Proud, righteous, victorious. She probably made herself tea, maybe even giggled. She had no idea the hammer she swung was about to become the most expensive tantrum in HOA history. I handed the footage over to the police. Every frame, every shout, every clumsy swing. I included timestamps, copies of her note, even Denise's sheepish eyewitness account. The responding officer, a calm guy named Officer Patel, watched the video in silence. Then he blinked, leaned back, and said, "She's not even trying to hide it. No mask, no gloves, just full Karen energy." In HD, the HOA board tried to clean it up quickly. Damage control mode activated. I received a formal apology letter with lots of buzzwords like misunderstanding and isolated incident. Notably, Karen's name was absent. But the real fun started when the police knocked on Karen's door. She didn't cry, didn't plead. She lectured them. That car was a missile on wheels, she barked. He ignored my warnings. I was protecting the neighborhood. The irony would have been delicious if it weren't so infuriating. She tried quoting the HOA handbook, claiming that my McLaren disrupted the aesthetic harmony of the community. I had already read it, twice, out of sheer pettiness. There wasn't a single word banning performance cars or matte finishes. I even highlighted the relevant sections and emailed them to the board with the subject line, Karen's favorite fictional rules, annotated edition. The lawsuit came next. Civil court. I had the footage, the emails, witness statements, damage reports, even a psychologist's note about the emotional stress the incident had caused. Karen showed up with no lawyer, just a clipboard, a sour scowl, and a manila folder filled with grainy, low-resolution printouts of my car parked legally outside my home. When the judge asked, "Miss Karen, are you admitting to damaging the plaintiff's vehicle?" She stood tall and said, "I was doing what the HOA should have done months ago." You could hear a pin drop. Even the stenographer paused. One more hearing, then the ruling. The courtroom smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and tension. I sat there, dressed professionally, sipping my water like it was champagne. Calm, confident, ready. My lawyer opened with a slideshow. First slide, a crisp, high-res still of Karen mid-swing. Her expression was somewhere between determination and madness. She looked like the host of a very unhinged DIY show. The judge's eyebrow went up. The audience murmured. Karen coughed loudly, as if that would erase the evidence. Then came the emails. Oh, the emails. She had sent several HOA-wide blasts accusing me of being a street racer, a public menace, and, my personal favorite, a fast and furious embarrassment. My lawyer printed them all on glossy paper. Presentation matters, after all. Karen objected. This is taken out of context. The judge didn't even flinch. "Ma'am, these are your words. Your email." When it was her turn to speak, she didn't apologize. She doubled down. That kind of horsepower doesn't belong near schools or children. I had no choice. I neutralized a threat. Neutralized, like she was the star of some suburban spy thriller. The judge blinked slowly, then turned to me. "Did your car ever exceed the speed limit?" "No, Your Honor," I replied. I showed GPS logs, noise tests, statements from neighbors who testified they'd never even heard it start. I myth-busted every accusation she had with the precision of a NASA engineer. When closing statements ended, the judge leaned back, sighed, and said, "Miss Karen, the evidence is overwhelming. You're liable for full replacement value of the vehicle, including upgrades, plus court costs and damages for harassment." Her jaw dropped. I think even her clip-on earrings trembled. 2 weeks later, my new McLaren arrived. Same model, same matte black, but with one addition, red calipers. And stitched into the headrests in bold red thread, "Thanks, Karen." She saw it. Oh, she saw it. I took it for a drive through the neighborhood. 10 miles per hour. A Bluetooth speaker playing the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song as I passed her lawn. She stood there like a video game boss in the final scene, utterly defeated. Word spread fast. Rumor had it she had to sell her Range Rover. Took out a second mortgage. Her husband resigned from the HOA board. Her landscaper ghosted her. Even her poodle developed stress-induced alopecia. Karma. At the next HOA meeting, she tried to spin it. Claimed she was acting in good faith. That the system was biased against safety advocates. No one bought it. Denise brought popcorn. The board voted unanimously to remove her as president. One member even floated the idea of banning her from future meetings entirely. As for me, I installed a new camera system. Multiple angles. 4K. Karen hasn't walked within 10 feet of my property since. Won't make eye contact. Won't wave. It's like I'm Medusa driving a luxury serpent. And in my garage, hanging right above the new McLaren, there's a framed copy of her original note. Beside it, a still from the porch cam. Karen in her floral robe, hammer raised, mid-swing. Every time I look at it, I smile. Because I didn't just win a case. I didn't just get a new car. I reminded every petty tyrant in that neighborhood that being HOA president doesn't make you God. It doesn't give you the right to destroy what you envy. And sometimes, just sometimes, justice looks a lot like a matte black McLaren cruising past your lawn at 10 miles per hour.